Okay, let's go on a little short trip roundabout and have a chat while we're going along. It's a good day today as far as Trump leaving, but it's a bad day weather-wise, and obviously it's a bad day COVID-wise. UK had its worst number of deaths recorded for COVID. Over 1,600 people died in one day. Tragedy. So what can you do? Things should get better if the vaccinations get better. Let's hope so. Let's hope so for sure. Anyway, going back to old Trump. Apparently he's only about 1,000 metres from where Biden was residing. So he could have said privately, good luck and whatever, just to be polite, be polite. But no, that's not going to happen, is it? So, because this is the way the whole 4 years have been. Just a nasty, rude person. I mean, there is thoughts going around that, obviously he lost, but he doesn't realise, he passionately and really doesn't realise he's lost, because he's, the way he's been brought up to win, so he never loses. So that's his mantra, and he can't handle losing. If he agrees that he's lost, he has lost everything. I'm talking about in his life in general. His whole life would be for nothing if just once he admitted he'd lost something. But he'll be gone today, and the America will be back to normal. Well, no, it won't. There'll be a long period of... Will it ever get back to normal? Because America's proved that it can't actually... defend itself from internal forces, which is a bit scary. That attack, well, not that many people on the Hill, has proved America's weakness and lack of democracy, and everything that America always stands up for is now gone. Can get it back? I don't think it ever will. Biden's a nice old fella, so I suppose we can give it a go, but we shall see. In this country, the government doesn't know what it's doing, and our main person in the government, one of the main people, Patel, has actually said that we should have shut down, which is back in March, which is against what the government did. So she's actually gone against her own government, which is a bit of a weird one. Boris won't be very impressed, even though it's obvious we should have shut down. So Boris won't be very impressed with that. So we'll see how that turns out. I can see her head being on the chopping block unless she sort of grovels at his feet. Yeah. Gosh, it is a rough old day. Fancy taking you out on a horrible day like today. We'll just roll around a bit. There's not too much traffic. And see what's what. Right, we're off. One thing with electric car is it's always first away from the lights, even when you're just ambling along. Because there's no bits and bobs to get working. It's just instant. There's nothing to stop it starting, if you see what I mean. A petrol diesel car's loads of bits you've got to propel before the car can get propelled. An electric car, there's none of that gubbins. Yeah, I'll tell you where we go. We'll head up towards Epsom Downs to see how crowded it is. because the last few days, mainly it's raining now, so it should be. Normally on a day like today in winter, pouring with rain, it'll be pretty much deserted, but we'll see. Let's see. Got food delivery coming tomorrow. Try to avoid going out to get food because supermarkets are full of who knows what. So it's best not to. So my food will come from Iceland. The shop, not the country, because that would be a bit of a long delivery. Yeah, they're all right. Reasonable price. It's a bit short on choice, but you can't do anything, can you? Let's move some bits around. They're all rattling about in here. I've got so much rubbish in this car. Right, let's see. Past these parked vehicles. Yeah, road's quiet around here. Yeah, I went on before about this car lease is up in November. My wife's electric car lease is up in October this year. And I've sort of whined a bit about we won't be able to afford to lease something as nice as this. So, but at least I've had the experience of a really, really good electric car. And now I must have an electric car because it's just so great. Problem is, not cheap. The residuals are so good, you can't get a second-hand one cheap. I mean, I could tell you how much the leasing of the Kia was over 3 years, and the leasing of this car over 2 years. So I've had the Kia a year longer than this. But I don't like to say it out loud because it's such a horrendous figure when you add it up. It seems all right, sort of month to month, but when you add up the figures, oh my goodness me. It's a lot of money. I could have brought a very decent second-hand electric car, very decent, for the price of leasing this and the Kia together. So I shall close my eyes to that because it's not good looking at it. Also, we've had COVID over quite a long period, which restricts going out. You can't go out for a meal, can't go out for well, you're just not free. You're just not free. And it's a bit painful to see the cars parked in the driveway, which you're paying for every day, and you can't go out. So it looks like I'll be buying a humble electric car. I shall miss this car a lot. Zoom in a bit, get a better view. How's that? A bit better. Not only is it raining, it's windy as well. This car doesn't get affected much by the wind. The Kia Soul Electric does a bit because it's a bit boxy, but this is pretty streamlined and the wind hardly affects it. In fact, I've driven a lot of cars. It is surprising how good this car is in the wind. It really doesn't get knocked about at all. It really is exceptionally good with that. What with all that low down weight, it doesn't get blown around. There's a few people at the old burger establishment, and it's open. Not nearly as many as usual. Right. chug along. This is Epsom Downs. Let's go. Bit of a puddle, a bit flooded. Right. Now we're heading towards, because if you can see it now, I'm straightening up a bit. Yeah, there's the grandstand, just on your left slightly, and that's where the COVID injections are taking place. So that's been pretty busy the last few days. People getting their jabs. Do you know, saying that, people are saying that there's less jabs being given on the news, and I'm looking at the car park, well, you can see it as well. Looking at the car park, which was packed solid a couple of days ago, is now not so packed. And it's because, yeah, unbelievable. It's because there isn't enough vaccine. It's not the pumping it into your arm, that's the easy bit. It's the vaccine we are now short of. And I'm really surprised when you hear it in the news, but then you just, but actually seeing it there in front of me, because people don't have to be invited to have their jab. So if they're not invited, they're not, obviously not going to turn up. So that is why. So people haven't been invited for their jab. So from a rock and roll start, things are slipping. As I suppose, not that surprised, I suppose, but it's disappointing. I mean, the numbers the government have given out, like vaccinating all the over 70s by mid-February and everybody by autumn, well, already is slipping away. There isn't enough vaccine. It is slipping away. There's no doubt that their big ambition will dissolve like all their other promises, will just fade away. And they will hope, it doesn't matter if people do forget, but they will hope that people will forget the promises the government will make. But then the government's got big majorities, so whether they fulfil the promises or not really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter a jot. They would come on the news and say, try and find another country that's worse than us, which is pretty hard to do, and say, look at that country. Don't look at us, look at that country. They're worse than us. Aren't they terrible? Yeah. Bit of a flooding, not a great deal, just a bit of a splash. In the House of Commons today, debate between Keir Starmer and the Prime Minister. And Keir said to the Prime Minister about Patel saying she thought they should have been locked down in March, but the government ignored her, and that's the same government. And so Boris stood up, and you know he's going to say, well, you know he's going to say, he's not going to answer. He's going to say about how bad the Labour Party is. In no way is he going to say, well, he's not going to answer the question. It is question time. It's comically called question time in the House of Parliament. It's comical because there's no comeback. Someone asks a question, like Keir Starmer asks a question, Boris attacks Keir Starmer on nothing, and that's the end of the question. So that's very fruitful. We want question and answer time to be good, but it's the answers don't come about. Boris just gives his old waffle, and on to the next question, which was the point, asking another question, because we won't get an answer to that either. Just a load of old rubbish. But I think Patel will be in a bit of shtuck because she hasn't backed the party line. So she could be on the chopping block. Yeah, I mean, in politics these days, it's all look after yourself and boost yourself. By her saying what she's saying, and obviously she's not stupid, she knew how controversial it would be perhaps she's looking to the future. Perhaps she's looking to be Prime Minister herself. Because you're not going to be Prime Minister just by trolling around, just doing nothing. You've got to really spark something. And perhaps she's aiming to spark something. Perhaps her ambition goes all the way. Who knows? This is an odd one, but when the older three people come out and stand in front of them in the afternoons, they only do it now and again. They used to do it every day, but they stand in front of their lecterns and give their stuff, and they get their slides out saying, look at this slide is going up, this slide is going down, like swings and roundabouts. It's like playground with slides in it. I say it doesn't happen every day now, but when it happened a couple of days ago, the number of deaths have gone down. So everybody in the country feel, oh, thank God for that. Number of deaths have dropped. As soon as the old lecterns get put away and they're not on TV, whack, we come up with this massively high figure. Because there's no one there to answer. Because there's no lecterns on days like today. Now, it's me being conspiratorial, it's a hard word for me to say, that the numbers shot up when the lecterns aren't there. When the lecterns reappear, will the numbers shoot down? Oh well, we shall see. Yeah, a lot of people have been fined for driving around with no apparent reason. But there is an apparent reason, because if you stay indoors 24/7, you might go crazy. So yeah, there is something in driving about. I mean, I'm saying this while I'm driving about, but I'm not stopping anywhere. I'm just, well, obviously, where am I driving to? Well, I'm driving home. So that's it, really. I'm very unlikely to infect anyone sitting in here. Head towards Epsom Town, head home, see what's about. See, there's a bit of traffic around. I mean, last time there was lockdown in March, roads were absolutely deserted. But now, I guess we're just used to lockdowns and we don't lock down as much. Because, well, as I say, because it's driving us crazy. It's driving us all mad. We've got to get out. We've got to get out safely. I mean, I think I've got out safely. I think the people who've gone to exercise in the middle of nowhere have got out safely. What is unsafe is going out and doing your shopping. Now that is unsafe. Essential, but unsafe. Town is looking very quiet. Grass is green, plenty of rain, plenty of flooding. Where's this? Oh, we're in this, what's it, aren't we? Because it's so windy. We've got this, what's it coming over? Storm. Don't remember the name of it. We have so many storms. They must have run out of names for storms. I don't remember, now this is me being very old, I don't remember storms. So many storms, so much wind, so much rain, so much heat, so much climate change, perhaps. Or maybe you're not supposed to say that. Because obviously I think of climate change because I'm driving an electric car. If I speak to someone on the internet and they say about And I say, oh, they know I'm driving an electric car. They say, oh yes, but where does electricity come from? It comes from fossil fuels. It comes from burning coal, because they're from America. I was on not same sort of subject really. I was on Octopus Agile. Octopus are the best for electric cars. Octopus Agile is incredibly good, incredibly cheap in the summer. But what I've found out is that if the weather's really, really cold and there's no wind, the price of electricity with Octopus Agile goes up and up and up and up and up. I thought, oh my God, this isn't very good. So now I'm on Octopus Go. Got to be Octopus. Octopus are good. Which means I pay 14.4p per kilowatt hour all the day, except from 12:30 a.m. 12:30, the early hours of the morning, till 4:30, early hours of the morning, just 4-hour thingy. I pay 4p per kilowatt. Really, really cheap. And that's rock solid. That's not changeable. Now that is a good one. So my recommendation is to go on Octopus for sure. Yes, if you've got an electric car especially, but go on Octopus anyway. But go on Octopus and Octopus Agile for summer, because you can actually have days where they pay you to use electricity. Hard to believe, but true. And in the winter, switch to Octopus Go. And then round it will come again. You switch back to Octopus Agile in summer and Octopus Go for winter. One thing that would be good to be able to look at, because when I was on Octopus Agile, of course, I can see the rates of you charge, like in the cost. I can look at that, but I can't look at Octopus Agile charges when I'm on Octopus Go. Now there is, I don't know if anyone going to agree with me on this, because nobody ever answers, no one ever talks to me on this YouTube, but is there a space for someone on YouTube or something to give, who's on Octopus Agile, to give the figures every day? Sounds a good idea to me, because you don't know what you're going to get until you're on it, unless some nice person hands you the figures, shows you the figures every day. Sounds a good one to me. So I say, all the other one, 99% of all other electricity providers, they don't have that massive electricity flexibility of Octopus Agile. They can they charge you half-hour intervals that goes up and down like a yo-yo, which is pretty amazing. Obviously you've got the smart meter, which is pretty amazing. So it charges you accordingly, but they can only charge you at the price they can get electricity for. So during cold, still, God, holes in the road are appalling. During cold, still days during the winter, they can't get the power cheap, so they can't sell it to you cheap. So Octopus Agile is definitely a summer jobby. Octopus Go is definitely a winter jobby, especially if you've got an electric car. I think I've said all this before, but Octopus Agile is cheap, really dear. Between about 4 o'clock in the afternoon until about 7 o'clock in the evening, which is, of course, when everyone piles in from work and switches every gadget on, and so it's very cheap, very dear then. Up to 35p a kilowatt during those periods. So if you can avoid them, it's a bargain. If you can't avoid them, don't do it. But as I say, Octopus Agile during the winter, there's been high periods. It's one day, really, really cold day. Prices were rock and roll high, even going to 30p a kilowatt, which is double the national average, during just any old time during the day, and that is pretty that's bad. That's too dear. Yeah, getting close to home now. Not raining too much. wipers are squeaking. You see, I'm a bit of an easygoing chap, really. I should take it in or say to. I mean, it's more apparent in an electric car if the wipers squeak, because it's not the blades on the windscreen. It's a mechanism squeaking. It's and ask Tesla to have a look at it, but it is a bit of a hassle to ask Tesla to repair things, because it's not like popping down the road to your local person, because there isn't any local Tesla places to do it, because they're not into servicing, and they're not into showrooms, which is a good thing, because it keeps the price down. Even though they are dear, it keeps the price down as much as possible. There's a car, if you can see, is just driven right across me. But then I'm quite easygoing chap. Squeaky wipers, it's not the end of the world. Some people get absolutely wound up about things like that. They say, "Oh, the car's so expensive, it's got a squeaky wiper." Oh no, it's the end of the world. Well, I'm not like that. Actually, saying that, it's not squeaking as much. It's because I said nice words about Tesla. You see, the wiper's not squeaking so much now. Strangely, I've had it so long, I just get used to the squeak. And oddly enough, it stopped squeaking. How weird's that? Mr. Musk must be listening to me and saying, "Oh dear, I'll fix those wipers," and he's done it. That's very strange. What I can hear is what you can hear. This car is a very, very quiet car. It'll go beep, beep, beep now, because it's taken on a whole new persona. Every time I come down this road, there's some parked vehicles, and the car perceives they're in the way, and it goes beep, beep, beep. But this time, it didn't. Tesla's almost a salient being. What with being updated quite often, this car's been updated dozens of times, and every update you get a slightly different car, so you never get bored with a Tesla. Now the wipers are squeaking again. Yeah, anyway, so there you go. People get upset about power gaps. I can't say I've noticed power gaps. But then I don't actually drive the car on the outside. I tend to sit inside the car when I drive it. Do I care about power gaps? Well, obviously I would if they let water in or something, but why would I? Why would anybody? Goodness me, you're not standing on the outside. Your car always got as a millimetre bigger there. Oh no. You're going to take your car, you're going to park in the car park, someone's going to park next to you, slam their door against your side of your car, and you're worried about panel gaps. It's going to be rainy and windy and horrible weather, and snow and ice, and your car's going to be like a block of ice, and you're worried about panel gap. No, don't worry about panel gap. I'll tell you what worry about how silky smooth it is, but it's not a worry, it's lovely. You see this lorry, watch. Oh, he seems to be wanting to pull out. No, it's all right, he's just stopping weirdly. Yep, so just about home now, and I'll pull in. Okie dokie. I'll turn you off. Thanks for watching if you're watching, and have a good one. Look after yourself and all that stuff.